The 17th ranked USC Trojans have a date with the 21 ranked Iowa Hawkeyes on Saturday at 12:30. With a win, just how high can the Trojans go in the college football playoff rankings? Let's get into it. Hey, what's up, Trojan family? Welcome to the USC LAFB show. Kickoff time is coming up very quickly, depending on when you are watching this. 12:30 rainy kickoff at the Coliseum. Beautiful weather for football. I don't care what anyone says. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be fun. Should be an absolute great game. I wanted to quickly think about and discuss and get your guys' opinions. Comment below. Obviously, looking glass half full, as I always am, if USC is able to pull off a win against Iowa, which is a big if. This is going to be a tough game. We don't want to overlook Iowa by any means. They have a well-disciplined team, great defense, 4th ranked overall defense in the country. They limit under 150 yards passing per game, just over 100 yards rushing per game. So it is a dynamic defense. And the offense, we know they're just going to want to play smash mouth, bully ball, and run the ball. Not much of a passing threat, but certainly a running threat. So Danton Land and that defense are going to have their hands full slowing that down. Will they stack the box? We've talked about it all week. If you want like a full preview of the game, make sure to check out make sure to check out our call-in show that Madman and the Tim did on Thursday night. I'll drop the link below, or we have a snippet of just the specific preview of the game if you want to just watch that snippet of it. So I'll comment that, or I'll leave that in the comments also if you want a full like preview breakdown. But just looking at who's ahead of USC, it's kind of interesting where they could potentially go. So, as I said, USC 17th ranked. Above them, you have Georgia Tech at 16, Miami at 15, Vanderbilt at 14, Utah at 13, BYU at 12, Oklahoma at 11, and Texas at 10. I stopped at 10 because even if every one of these teams loses, which actually can't happen because Vanderbilt's on a bye, but even if everyone else loses, I don't see a world where USC jumps over the 10 spot into the 9 spot. But how far could they go up? So again, we're glass half full. We're saying USC gets this win. They're, depending on what sports book you look at, 6.5 or 7.5 point favorites now. The line has moved in USC's favor, even with the monsoon-like weather we're going to have. So Georgia Tech is at Boston College. Boston College is 1-9. So if both these teams win, I still think there's a world where USC actually jumps Georgia Tech. Like typically, you don't see that happen often for a team losing, but with a big win over the 21 ranked Iowa versus the team just ahead of them beating a 1-9 Boston College team, conventional wisdom tells you that team should move ahead of you. So I'm going to go with they would jump Georgia Tech even if both teams win. And let me do a generic and then we'll go back maybe game by game. So Miami versus NC State. NC State is 5-4. So not a very quality win. And it's a home game for Miami. So this is kind of the big one, right? If Miami wins, would the USC win over Iowa be enough to even jump Miami? Same record. Both have 2 losses. Both have 1 ranked loss. USC lost to Notre Dame. Miami beat Notre Dame. USC also lost to Illinois, unranked loss. Miami lost to Louisville. They're ranked 20th currently. And they lost to SMU, who is unranked. So kind of similar resumes. Miami has the win over Notre Dame. USC loses Notre Dame. So it's that weird kind of Bermuda Triangle, how you look at it. So that would be an interesting one. Vanderbilt's on a bye. So there's a world where if a bunch of teams lose ahead of them, they could move up. But theoretically, they would probably stand pat at 14. Utah is at Baylor. Baylor's been, somewhat of a finicky team. They've played some good football, but they got a 5-4 record. I wouldn't call it an easy win for Utah, but I wouldn't call it a quality win either. But we'll decipher that what you think. Number 20, IU versus TCU. TCU again, 6-3 football team. They actually have the same record as Iowa, so they are not ranked, but they are 6-3 team. So a good football team would be considered a good win for BYU. 11 and 12 matchups are very interesting. And we'll truly see the SEC bias come out in these ones. So you have Oklahoma at Alabama. Alabama 8-1, 4th ranked team in the nation. And then 10th ranked Texas at 5th ranked Georgia. Obviously, Georgia is 8-1. So this is where things get interesting because let's say Oklahoma beats Alabama at Alabama. How far does Alabama fall? And how high does Oklahoma jump? Oklahoma would clearly move from 11 into the top 10, and you would think Alabama would move out of the top 10, but they would still be 8-2. It'd be a quality loss. So that you almost could see a world where I don't know if they'd switch places. Like, I don't think Oklahoma would jump all the way to 4, but you could certainly see Alabama falling to 11, basically keeping them alive for the college football playoff, and Oklahoma move up to like 7 or 6. I think that's a world you could see. Texas at Georgia. If Texas beats Georgia, I think you'll see just a flop, basically. Georgia fall to 10 from 5 to 10. Texas probably jump all the way to 5. They've been the team, I think they were the number 1 team preseason rankings, and AP, coaches poll, CFP loves Texas, even though I think they aren't overrated based on their resume. I would certainly put them in the top 25 at this point, but not 10th. But they would probably get some bias to move up pretty high. So whatever happens, if Oklahoma and Texas win, obviously USC is not moving up very high, or at least not all the way into the top 10, certainly, because they're not, even with Alabama and Georgia losing, they both have 2 losses, pretty quality losses. They would most likely still be above USC. Here's where things get wild. If Oklahoma and Texas both lose, you drop them fairly low. You'd have to. I don't think they drop out of the top 25, but a 2-loss USC team who just beat a 21 ranked Iowa could theoretically jump them, depending on how the teams in the middle do. So, I mean, it's all very complicated, right? But let's play out. I mean, this is how I wanted to do it. So, best case scenario for USC, Georgia Tech's not losing to Boston College. So Georgia Tech wins. Miami, I don't think is losing NC State. So NC State or Miami wins. Vandy's on a bye. Utah loses to Baylor. They're at Baylor. BYU loses to TCU. Oklahoma loses to Alabama. Texas loses to Georgia. Theoretically, you could see USC jump all the way from 17 to at least 12. At least 12. They could still, even with Georgia Tech and Miami winning, and I'm probably getting very confusing because there's so many schools to throw it out, but you could see them jump Georgia Tech and Miami as well if their win against Iowa not only beats the spread, but is of the dominant fashion in the second half, like we've seen the last 2 weeks. Like, let's say there's a world where, it's, let's say 14-7 at halftime. USC has a lead. Great. And again, I'm going real glass half full here. Let's say in that second half, they actually pull away. They end up winning 31-14, like same score as Michigan. If all those scenarios worked out, I mean, you could say, yeah, USC should probably be 10th or 11th. They should jump Georgia Tech. They should jump Miami with that dominant win over a ranked opponent. Worst case scenario, with them winning, obviously, worst case is they lose. Worst case scenario with them winning is they basically would probably, let's say every team won, which again, I don't think Oklahoma and Texas are going to win. Like, one of them is going to lose. I just feel, at Alabama, at Georgia, they're both road teams. I can't see both of them winning. So we'll say one of them wins and the others all win. Tech, Miami, Utah, BYU, Vandy on the bye. You could see USC move up 16 or 15, 1 or 2 spots again, similar to last week. That's like worst case scenario. So long-winded way of saying, family, and I again, curious your thoughts. This is all just speculation, and I've got my notes here that I'm probably just spewing out jargon, but I could see definitely a world in most realistic terms with a win that USC moves from 17 to 12. That is kind of where I'm putting my stamp, that a big quality win, because again, outside of the 11-12 teams, they're the only ones that play a ranked opponent. Everyone else in the middle, so from SC all the way to Oklahoma, from 17 to 11, none of those middle teams play a ranked opponent. So I could see USC jumping just realistically looking at all that could happen. I could see them finishing at 12, which, again, we'll see tiebreakers and qualifiers for divisions, but that would mean going into Oregon, USC would be in a playoff position just purely based on 1 through 12 ranking. Obviously, there's some teams that are, ACC teams are going to have like a 4-loss conference champion. So, that bumps someone out. But that means going into Oregon, if USC beats Oregon, again, you got to beat UCLA too. But UCLA, is licking their chops trying to play that spoiler. That 13-9 game is going to be on repeat at their practice facility when they, demoralized USC during that one. So that's getting way ahead of ourselves. But if USC can be at 13 or I think 12 heading into Oregon, they're in a playoff spot essentially. Beating Oregon now would put them clearly into probably the top 7 or 6, and then handle business at UCLA and you're in. So it's going to be a lot more probably complicated than that, but some of these teams are going to start to have to beat each other. They're going to play each other down the stretch, just like USC and Oregon are. And so handle your business, and I believe you are in. So we'll do a deeper dive, especially got to make sure USC wins this one first against Iowa, but could be interesting. We could see, the real small jump, 19-17 between the first CFP and beating Northwestern. They moved up just 2 spots. But beating Iowa is going to hold a little bit more weight, that they could potentially jump some teams, even if the teams in front of them win. I think that's the exciting part. So we'll see. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Where do you think USC could end up with a win? Got to get the win, but where could they end up in Tuesday's college football playoff when they come out, college football playoff rankings, when the 3rd edition comes out? But hey, everyone enjoy the game. Stay dry, but enjoy it. We don't get a lot of rain games. Like, everyone have fun. It should be a blast out there. And just dress warm and it should be a blast. Good football weather. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you have not already. Helps us out a ton. If you want to help us out monetarily, we would so appreciate you become a member of this channel, or head over to lfbnetwork.com and you can join our community by subscribing over there. You get some merch discounts. We're going to be doing a lot more meet and greet special events that we can all hang out. You get priority too. So enjoy. As always, family, fight on. Hey, Trojan family, thank you so much for hanging out and watching the USC LAFB show. Before you go, let me tell you quickly about our friends over at Sleeper. Go right now, download the Sleeper app. It's the #1 sports app, not just for season-long fantasy, but they've got live pickers, they've got live stat updates, they've got a chat you can chat with other users, plus the daily pick'em, which is a blast, or daily fantasy, whatever you want to call it. You go and pick 2 to 8 players across any sports. If you're talking USC, go choose Jaden Mayava in his next matchup. Pick more or less passing yards, more or less touchdowns. You stack those, and you can win real money. When you go to make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code USC LAFB. You're going to get a match deposit up to $100. Put in $100, you get $100 free to play with from Sleeper. Put in $10, they'll match you that $10. So now you're sitting at $20 to play with. But also right now, for any new users, no deposit required. You get $20 free entry. You can stack both. You can get the $20 for free. Go make a deposit. Use USC LAFB. And now you've got a bunch of free money to play with right there on the Sleeper app. Check it out, Trojan family. And when you do, tell them the guys at the USC LAFB sent you.